Right now, though, let's talk to our good friend, Mr. Mahyar Tousi, who's, of course, conservative YouTuber, a man that's been on Talk Radio many, many times. He's appeared very often on Plank of the Week, not as a plank, of course, but as a panellist on Plank of the Week. Yesterday, he took it upon himself to do his civic duty and his nationalist duty, and he went down and cleaned up the Winston Churchill defaced statue because he had been called a racist. Black Lives Matter had put BLM on the bottom of the sort of the plinth on which it stands. And Mahyar, first of all, thank you very much for doing that, and thank you to all the other people who joined in that particular endeavour. But it's taken a bit of a nasty turn since you did your good deed. Tell us about it.
Thanks for having me, Mike. I do have to clarify one thing, though. We got there and we didn't actually clean up the actual statue because that failed. We couldn't do it, but we were just cleaning up the rubbish around it in the area. So I wasn't actually responsible for washing up the actual statue. So just to clarify that.
Okay, they did let some people do it at some point, didn't they? Because I'm pretty sure I saw it. I thought I saw some people rubbing the statue and rubbing the words off it.
Yep. Yeah, so that's what we saw. We saw some others trying and then failing, and you kind of needed more professional equipment and products. But it's been absolutely crazy. I mean, from my perspective, and what's happened to me over the last couple of days, I've received a number of death threats. Actually, the Met Police are on the case for some of them. Because some of them are quite serious. Because usually I get a lot of trolls attacking me on Twitter, like what you get as well. But when it comes to like physical violence and death threats, obviously you have to take it seriously. It's I don't think for them it's about race. It's that's just an excuse because. There is a reason that the majority of the black community in this country aren't supporting this movement because they're just too busy like living their own lives and having a job, having a family, and also black people, generally speaking, stereotype, but are more culturally conservative than these woke Black Lives Matter activists who most of them are middle-class white people, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's the strange thing, isn't it? And there's no question that this is an organisation which is hell-bent, a bit like Extinction Rebellion, on doing away with capitalism. I'm not quite sure why they all want to do away with capitalism, but they also claim that they're basically anarchists and they are a very small and rather nasty group of people, as the death threats that you've received would appear to illustrate.
Yeah, so I actually have the Black Lives Matter GoFundMe page website open on my iPad. Their agenda, in their own words, is to abolish the police, abolish capitalism, and essentially the values of Western democracy. Right. So I don't see any racial agenda on this.
No, they seem to have forgotten about that bit. But I mean, the ridiculous thing is now, Mahyar, and I've said this many times, that the police, and I don't blame individual police officers for this, but the police and the way that they have policed this business, particularly down in Bristol and particularly at points in London, has seemingly failed to protect not only the property of London and the property of Bristol, but also, the safeness of our streets.
Yes, I think it's because I've spoken to a number of former police officers who are actually subscribers on my YouTube channel who are absolutely angry because it's not necessarily, as you said, the fault of the individual police officers because they have to obviously go with what they're ordered to do. It's the senior management and senior teams who are over the last couple of decades have become so woke. The way these people are recruiting the police force these days, and I think that we need a balance because there is an issue in America with the American force, not necessarily based on racial stuff, but the American police are slightly aggressive compared to the British police. But the British police sometimes are too soft, and if we have the balance, it would really help because, as you said, in Bristol, the senior police officers were just saying we actually sympathise with the cause of this violent movement. So let's just bring down the statues. What?
I know. Well, there's been some amazing developments in America. I was watching an interview last night, which was actually on CNN, with a woman who said, when she was asked, well, what would happen to me as the presenter of the news show if my house was broken into? And she was putting this question to a woman who was advocating basically the doing away with of the police force altogether. And this woman said, well, obviously you're coming at that from a position of privilege because people would want to burgle your house because you have things. And I'm going,
Yep.
really? So apparently people don't have their houses broken into if they are living in black neighbourhoods, which is absolutely and utterly ridiculous. And the idea that they actually want to defund the police, and there are those here who are using those same words as well, it's a kind of madness, isn't it?
Oh, but firstly, with the police funding is hilarious because these are obviously the lefties who, until 6 months ago, they were saying that the Tories' cut on the police funding is a problem,
Right.
and now they're actually advocating for more police cuts. And the other issue is that you mentioned. So I personally have, again, all the abuse that I've received over the last 48 hours. Some of them are these are the people who have an anti-racism campaign, but they keep calling because, and for those who don't know, listening to this, obviously I'm British, but my background is Persian, and then I keep receiving Twitter messages saying, "Oh, you're an Indian, or you're an Arab terrorist, or you're Pakistani."
Right.
I'm like, wait, you're being racist yourself at this point, and it's there is a reason that they don't understand that in this country we have the data. Pew Research says that 52% of Brits actually say that migrants, legal migration, actually makes this country stronger. So this is not a racist country. This is a racist country. This is the most tolerant country we have on this planet.
Right. Well, of course. And I mean, that is borne out by the fact that so many people want to come here from other countries in the world and live here. I mean, if it was a hostile environment, as a phrase that's been used in the past, I don't think they'd be quite so willing to come here. But do you not feel, Maya, at all like nervous about this now? I mean, has this taken a turn which is quite sinister? You know, you say that, yes, of course, we're all used to the trolls and we're all used to the abuse that we get on social media. But when it does turn to death threats, it does start to get a bit worrying.
I mean, again, most people know that my platform is just eternal optimism and positive, but so I'm not one of those fear-mongering people. But this is actually being a realist because I am actually I'm not really concerned about myself or my well-being. I'm more concerned about a lot of people, ordinary people out there, and who also happen to be white. And I can assure you, the white people right now are direct targets when it comes to this movement. And we have videos now from America and other places and Sweden where people are just being targeted just because they're white. They're not even doing anything. So I am really worried about what might happen in the next few days, few weeks.
Yeah, well, this is why the police need to get a grip, because if these people who are thugs, because there's nothing to say that they're not thugs, if they think that they can do whatever they like on the grounds that they feel strongly about something, then when does it end? And I said this to a caller yesterday. You know, it's all very well saying, well, they can take down a statue because everybody agrees with it. But what if they decide they want to ransack your house because everybody agrees with it? And then suddenly they want to start injuring people because everybody knows that you're a racist or you're a right-winger or you're a bad person. And that's when it starts to get very, very dangerous.
Yeah, there's no kind of ending for these people. There's no limit because even when it comes to these statues, they started like slave traders and all that, and then they said, because these are really bad people. But at the end of the day, they didn't stop there. Yesterday, 2 days ago, they also attacked Gandhi's statue and they called him racist. They literally spray painted Gandhi's statue saying racist. Wait, what did Gandhi do to you? Like, of all people.
Well, I mean, Gandhi was a bit of a racist, it has to be said. But I mean, you know, there are different ways of interpreting it, you know, in the end.
But not for them, not for the leftists.
No, exactly right. It's very, very confusing. Sam has tweeted me in the meantime to say, when is Meyer going to announce he's running for mayor? Surely there is no better time than now.
Yes, there is a bit of a campaign, like a peer pressure sort of thing on Twitter with the hashtag Meyer for Mayor right now going on, because I've obviously recently criticised Sadiq Khan, but I've also criticised Sean Bailey as a Tory candidate because, you know, I think we need a stronger candidate, and I think at this point London needs an independent, non-tribal, non-partisan sort of figure who could actually focus on policy rather than party politics. But I am not confirming nor denying anything right now.
Very good. Well, listen, glad to see you're fit and well, and stay safe out there because there are some nasty people doing the rounds. Mahyar Tousi, Conservative YouTuber, a man who should be sort of congratulated rather than have death threats. I mean, what sort of person, sick in the head, gives a death threat to someone? I mean, I've had them as well, and it's not a pleasant experience. But, you know, whoever you are out there, however strongly you feel about something, there is absolutely no excuse for that. And quite frankly, it's illegal. And you deserve to be rounded up by the police and taken to a very dark room and made to sit there for a long time. This is Talk Radio.